Hey guys, welcome to Video 30 for Mr. McGee's 9th grade biology class at Arizona School for the Arts. Today I'll be talking about what fossil evidence can show us about how life evolved. The first thing that we should discuss is an idea called the law of succession. This idea tells us that living things have changed over time and that these changes are recorded in the fossil record. Our ideas about the evolution of life on Earth are like a narrative of what scientists think happened over the course of billions of years. And it might read something like this. So, first we have simple, single-celled organisms. These gave rise to multicellular life. Plants and animals evolved to live in water. Plants colonized the land, followed by animals. Amphibians evolved, followed by reptiles, and then mammals. If this narrative is true, then the details of the fossil record should confirm this story. For example, when we look at the oldest rocks containing fossils, we should expect to find only single-celled organisms. Otherwise, we should expect to find plants and animals only when we look at much younger rocks. If the fossil record presents facts that contradict our narrative, then we need to reconsider whether this hypothesis is true. For example, what if a scientist found rabbit fossils in Cambrian rock? This would be a serious problem for the theory of evolution because it would contradict our understanding of the events in the history of life. So far, the fossil record has confirmed and enhanced our understanding of life's history to an astonishing degree. Fossil evidence can also be used to test hypothetical phylogenies. For example, scientists using anatomical and molecular data have hypothesized that whales evolved from a group of mammals that are called artiodactyls, or even-toed ungulates. This group includes hoofed animals such as deer, antelopes, and hippos. In fact, genetic data show that the hippo is the closest living relative of the whales. If this is true, then we should find anatomical evidence to support our hypothesis. Do whale bodies show evidence of their terrestrial ancestors? Indeed they do. In Video 29, we talked about the atavistic hind legs and flippers that are occasionally found in whales and dolphins. And when we look at the typical body of a whale, we find other features. For example, most whale species possess rudimentary pelvic bones that were once hips. And also pectoral fins of whales contain the same number and kind of bones that are found in most other mammals. These details confirm our hypothesis that whales are part of the artiodactyl family tree. But what fossil evidence should we look for to further test this hypothesis? One of the striking differences between modern artiodactyls and whales is their number of limbs. Whales have lost their hind limbs, so we should expect to find fossil evidence of this transition. The position of nostrils is also different for whales. The nostrils of a whale are located not at the tip of the snout, as in most mammals, but rather at the top of the head, to allow the animal to breathe at the surface of the water. Does the fossil record show any evidence of this change? We'll start with an organism called Indohyus. It lived roughly 48 million years ago and was a typical even-toed ungulate, which means that it had an even number of hoofed toes on each foot. However, it possessed a structure that was found only in whales. Indohyus possessed a thick, bony capsule around its middle ear, called an auditory bulla. Scientists think that Indohyus may have been semi-aquatic, diving underwater for short periods of time to forage for aquatic foods. Another fossil from about the same time was Pakicetus. It has the same auditory bulla that we saw in Indohyus. Pakicetus was even more adapted to living in water, with eyes placed high on the head and nostrils that face upwards. Ambulocetus was another early whale that could walk as well as swim. It had short legs with large paddle-like feet and a long muscular tail. But it had a thick pad of fat located in the jaw, in the same place that whales have fat that is used to hear underwater. Rhodocetus was even better adapted to living in water. It used its large webbed feet to propel itself through the water. Its skull was particularly interesting because of the nostrils were farther back along the skull than its predecessors, and its eyes were found in the sides of its head, as they are in modern whales. Dorodon and Basilosaurus are a couple of others. They lived from about 41 to 33 million years ago. In these fossils, we see the nostrils have moved even further back in the head. Both of them had teeny tiny little legs in their near their tails that were useless for swimming, and the front limbs were modified into flippers. They used long, powerful tails with flukes for swimming. So let's step back and look at the whole progression of ancient whales. Indohyus, Pakicetus, Ambulocetus, Rhodocetus, Dorodon, Basilosaurus. These fossils show a gradual progression from a four-legged terrestrial body to the sleek, streamlined body of modern whales. The fossil evidence reinforces what scientists discovered through anatomical and molecular data. Well, that's all we have time for today. Be sure to answer the content questions for this video, and as always, here's your bunny of the day.